This is a Nerd World Order broadcast, spoiler-free review.
10 movies in the Fast and the Furious franchise. I'm completely amazed that a movie about street racing that came out decades ago has produced 10 movies, and people still line up to see them year after year, movie after movie. Not all of them have been great, but definitely the Fast and the Furious franchise satisfies your need for a movie during the summer. This will be a spoiler free review of Fast X, starring Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, a cast of family, and a villain given to us by Jason Momoa. Now, let's get into the first part of the four things we look for as a nerd to determine if a movie is going to be good or not: the acting, action, special effects, and stories. One possible nerd flag for each one. Let's start off with the acting. Now, with Vin Diesel, we know that we're never going to get an Academy Award winning performance, but he does give us the Dominic Toretto that's full of action and love for his family and the ability to do absolutely impossible things and make them seem credible, at least somewhat credible. And he gave us exactly the Dom Toretto that we all love to watch in Fast X, along with a very surprising villain that did a phenomenal job. Jason Momoa, when I heard Jason Momoa was going to be the villain, I was not impressed. I did not think that Jason Momoa was going to be a good villain. What I expected was another strong meathead villain to go against the Vin Diesel impossible hero. However, Jason Momoa presented a very cerebral villain. I think if we have to make a comparison, he is the Joker to Batman, Vin Diesel being Batman, obviously. That is the performance that he gave. Very cerebral, less physical, and he definitely made the movie. I wouldn't say Jason Momoa steals the show, but I would say he's possibly the best villain in the Fast and Furious franchise, along with the supporting cast, whether it be Tate Diggs or whether it be Ludacris or whether it be any number of other stars, maybe John Cena. John Cena did a great job. And the kid who played Little B, which is basically Dominic Toretto's son, great job. Everyone was very likable in this movie. The cast meshed very well. And so for the acting in Fast X, one very strong nerd flag. Now let's move on to the action. Preposterous? Yes. I like to describe the Fast and the Furious as the Avengers with cars because you have to suspend your disbelief in order to really enjoy the Fast X movies or the Fast and Furious movies, because they are going to give you some things that happen in a car that defy the laws of physics, but you want to go out and try them yourself at the end of the movie. Boys and girls, do not try this at home. These things are being done by trained actors and people with years of CGI experience to give you what you see in the Fast and the Furious franchise. And it's great. The action, Dom's jumping things, Letty's doing flips on a motorcycle, Jason Momoa is just blowing stuff up, explosions left and right. Incredible action, edge of your seat action. You know that Dom's going to get out of it all, but how will he? That is what keeps you engaged in this movie, is what is Dom and the family going to do? Let's get on to the special effects. I was on the fence about this one. Sometimes those cars looks like Hot Wheels toys, and sometimes some of the things that happen in the movie, you think to yourself, as I do, because I kind of drive like Dominic Toretto from time to time. You know that those things that happen would damage the cars. You can actually see the cars being damaged, and then a scene later, they're operable again. But the special effects on other things were just like, wow, that's really cool. And the special effects do deliver to the impossible things that happen in this movie, or rather improbable. I mean, those of us that are old enough to have watched Dukes of Hazzard know that, hey, every week that car jumped the same lake, but we kept coming back for more. And that's what we get from Dom Toretto and the special effects and Fast X. So I have to give it an enthusiastic nerd flag. Sometimes the special effects were hit or miss, but the explosions, the things that those special effects allowed the movie to do, definitely came through. Now let's get on to what is obviously, oh, In case you're counting, that's two nerd flags. If you're counting, then we know we're on to the third part, which is actually that's three nerd flags. Not four, not yet, but it could be. Let's talk about the story. The story in this movie, it's a continuation of nine other chapters. Some of the chapters are ignored, other the chapters are brought into it. And that's really what makes the story so interesting. I think when it's really important that you go back and look at other parts of a franchise in order to get the full effect, but you don't have to. You can still enjoy the movie without seeing all the additional parts of the franchise. That's what does really well. Full effect, you may have to go back. In this case, I feel like the story was great because it did allude to other parts of the Fast and the Furious franchise. There's things that you would only pick up if you'd watched other parts of the Fast and the Furious franchise. So that worked awesome. However, you can enjoy the movie as a standalone. You immediately understood Dominic Toretto has a son. People are after this son. You immediately understood that there was a family unit. You understood that Dominic Toretto, through a brief moment of the exposition, was a street rider a street racer turned special operative, special forces operative. Yes, very improbable, but they pull it off very well in this world of preposterous action. The story was great. They're going after little Brian. You understand why. You see why the villain has his motivation. You understand the connection to some of the new characters introduced. Great job, Brie Larson, and some of the existing characters, and they expand on those relationships a little bit. Mainly being the Taye Diggs character and also the Ludacris character. They portray them more as brothers in a brief interaction within the movie, and there's actually a development of the Taye Diggs character, which I mean, it's like, come on, Roman Pierce actually having a little bit more development. Yeah, they even did that in the movie as well. So one very enthusiastic nerd flag for the story in Fast X. Now, if you're counting, you may notice we're up to four nerd flags in this movie. And so, as you can tell, I very strongly encourage you to watch Fast X. It is a great movie. It's never going to win an Oscar. It's never going to get Academy Award, not for special effects, not for writing, not for acting, not for any of it. But you are going to have a great time watching this movie. And so I strongly recommend it. But hold on, wait, there's more. Post credits. Post credits, I have to say, you have to stick around and watch the post credits. Avoid the spoilers, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order. Avoid those spoilers because those spoilers are going to ruin that post-credit scene for you. It's great. It's not the best post-credit, but it definitely gets you prepared for what's going to happen next in the Fast and Furious franchise. It gets you excited. It gives you something you were not expecting. And those post-credits, that post-credit scene, because there's only one, is definitely worth sticking around for. So if you're counting, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, we're looking at 5 excited nerd flags, because I'm going to give another nerd flag for the post-credits in Fast X. I strongly recommend you hop in your car, you break the speed limit, you break a few rules of the road, and you get yourself down to the movie theater and check out Fast X. It delivers. It's going to give you a great movie. It's going to give you something you need, a moment of just enjoying some great car chases, some explosions, and some actions. So until, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, until next time, I am N.W.O. We are N.W.O, and we are Nerds Redefined.
This has been a Nerd World Order Broadcast Network production. Ending transmission now.